Slenderman was created on June 10, 2009, on a thread in the Something Awful Internet forum. The thread was a Photoshop contest in which users were challenged to create paranormal images. Forum poster Eric Knudsen, under the pseudonym Victor Surge, contributed 2 black and white images of groups of children to which he added a tall, thin, spectral figure wearing a black suit. Although previous entries had consisted solely of photographs, Surge supplemented his submission with snatches of text, supposedly from witnesses, describing the abductions of the groups of children and giving the character the name the Slender Man. The quote under the first photograph read, "We didn't want to go. We didn't want to kill them. But its persistent silence and outstretched arms horrified and comforted us at the same time." 1983, photographer unknown, presumed dead. The quote under the second photograph read, "One of 2 recovered photographs from the Sterling City Library blaze. Notable for being taken the day that 14 children vanished and for what is referred to as the Slender Man. Deformities cited as film defects by officials. Fire at the library occurred 1 week later. Actual photograph confiscated as evidence." 1986, photographer Mary Thomas, missing since June 13, 1986. These additions effectively transformed the photographs into a work of fiction. Subsequent posters expanded upon the character, adding their own visual or textual contributions. Knudsen was inspired to create the Slender Man, primarily by Zach Parsons' That Insidious Beast, Stephen King's The Mist, reports of shadow people, Mothman, and the Mad Gasser of Mattoon. Other inspirations for the character were the tall man from the 1979 film Phantasm, H.P. Lovecraft, the surrealist work of William S. Burroughs, and the survival horror video games Silent Hill and Resident Evil. Knudsen's intention was to formulate something whose motivations can barely be comprehended and which caused unease and terror in a general population. Other pre-existing fictional or legendary creatures which are similar to the Slender Man include the gentleman, black-suited, pale, bald demons from the Buffy, the Vampire Slayer episode Hush, men in black, many accounts of which grant them an uncanny appearance with an unnatural walk and oriental features, and the Question, a DC Comics superhero with a blank face whose secret identity is Victor Sage, a name similar to Knudsen's alias Victor Surge. In her book Folklore, Horror Stories, and the Slender Man, the development of an internet mythology, Professor Shira Chess of the University of Georgia connected the Slender Man to ancient folklore about fairies. Like fairies, the Slender Man is otherworldly, with motives that are often difficult to grasp. Like fairies, his appearance is vague and often shifts to reflect what the viewer wants or fears to see. And like fairies, the Slender Man lives in the woods and wild places and kidnaps children. Visually, Slender Man is depicted as abnormally tall and slender, with unnaturally long arms, which he can extend to intimidate or capture prey. His face is usually featureless, adding to his eerie and mysterious persona. This blank canvas of a face allows him to become a projection of various fears and anxieties, a modern bogeyman. Stories of the Slender Man commonly feature his stalking, abducting, or traumatizing people, particularly children. The lore around Slenderman is rich and varied, as it has been shaped by countless contributors. Common themes involve him stalking, abducting, or traumatizing people, often children. The settings and stories vary, with some portraying him as a malevolent force, while others depict him as an indifferent or even protective entity, depending on the narrative. Beginning in 2014, a moral panic occurred over the Slender Man after readers of his fiction were connected to several violent acts, particularly a near-fatal stabbing of a 12-year-old girl in Waukesha, Wisconsin. A documentary film on the incident called Beware, The Slender Man, directed by Irene Taylor Brodsky, was released by HBO Films in March 2016 and was broadcast on HBO on January 23, 2017. On May 31, 2014, two 12-year-old girls in Waukesha, Wisconsin held down and stabbed a 12-year-old classmate 19 times. When questioned later by authorities, they reportedly claimed that they wished to commit a murder as a first step to becoming proxies for the Slender Man, having read about it online. They also stated that they were afraid that Slender Man would kill their families if they did not commit the murder. After the perpetrators left the scene, the victim crawled out of the woods to a roadway. A passing cyclist alerted authorities, and the victim survived the attack. Both attackers were diagnosed with mental illnesses but were charged as adults and faced up to 65 years in prison. One of the girls reportedly said Slender Man watches her, could read minds, and could teleport. Several scholars have argued that, despite being a fictional work with an identifiable origin point, the Slender Man represents a form of digital folklore. Shira Chess argues that the Slender Man exemplifies the similarities between traditional folklore and the open-source ethos of the internet, and that, unlike those of traditional monsters such as vampires and werewolves, the fact that the Slender Man's mythos can be tracked and signposted offers a powerful insight into how myth and folklore form. Slenderman's rise to fame is a testament to the power of storytelling on the internet. His story has been adapted into various media, including video games like Slender: The 8 Pages, which played a significant role in amplifying his popularity. Despite the decline in popular interest in the Slender Man, commercial adaptations of the character continued. In 2015, the film adaptation of Marble Hornets titled Always Watching. A Marble Hornet story was released on VOD, where the character was portrayed by horror legend Doug Jones. In 2016, Sony Pictures subsidiary Screen Gems partnered with Mythology Entertainment to bring a Slender Man film into theaters, with the title character portrayed by Javier Botet. The film was deemed a critical disaster, despite grossing several times its budget to the chagrin of its detractors. In essence, Slenderman is a modern myth, an entity that embodies the fears and anxieties of the digital age. He is a creation of what came before, shaped into something new, a figure that mirrors the complexities of internet culture and its impact on society. If you enjoyed this video, then like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.